Awesome. Thanks.
Well, I am really excited to talk to you guys tonight, and I have a bunch of notes, so I'm going to keep looking down at them because I felt very inspired today when I was going through all of these things. And like Kelly said, I am a Ruby. I joined Plexus I started as a customer in July of 2014, and I joined as an ambassador after a month so I can get my products cheaper with no intention of working the business. And that very accidentally came about a few months later when I posted on Facebook for the first time after I got approval from my boss. And then it kind of went nuts all at once. And I went from never telling a soul to after my first month, I had 6 people on my team. And then after the second month, I had 18. And I did not have a clue what I was doing. So a lot of what I'm telling you is I learned from my mistakes. So hopefully they can help you to not make the same mistakes as you are starting in this journey. Because had I had a system from the beginning and stuck with it, things might look a little bit different for me now. Because I did have quite a bit of time between Gold and Senior Gold and then between Senior Gold and Ruby where I feel like I was spinning my wheels because I wasn't getting things to duplicate down my levels. So we're working on things, and I'm hoping that we're getting a system that's working for us now. But it's still difficult because I can't make people do things. And the same with you guys. You have people on your team, and you want them to do this, and you explain how beneficial it is, but we can't make them do it. And that is really difficult sometimes. So really, number one thing is just create a system that works for you from the very beginning. If you have one person on your team, start your system now. Whether you're going to have a binder and have a form filled out for each of them with all of their health information and their goals and their why and what products they're taking. And that way you have that for everybody as you go. Or if you're going to use a spreadsheet through Excel or however you plan on doing it, and that may change as you go because the more people you get, sometimes things are more labor intensive than others. But you need to figure out what you think might work best for you and start it from the beginning. I look at my team now and I think, gosh, it's overwhelming because I see people who have binders and I'm like, that's a great idea. But then I'm like, I don't have 3 weeks to sit down and write out a sheet of paper about every single person on my team and try to figure all this out. So just getting your system from the beginning and sticking with it. Eric Worre says in one of the training videos that I've watched of his, and I've watched it several times, that the biggest thing with duplication is fighting complexity, that it needs to be simple. Because if you have a complex system and you sign somebody up and then you're like, okay, here's this 12-step process to keep track of your team, they're not going to do it. But if it's, okay, we're going to, this is what it's worked for me. I have this binder. We have this one form we fill out and you just put it in there what their last name is. And then you know where they're at all the time. However you do it, but just so that it's not overly complex. And when you're developing this system, it's not just pen and paper, but developing a system of staying in communication with your team. In my opinion, it's best if you can talk to your top leaders on your team at least once a week. Some you may talk to on a daily basis, depending on where they're at in their business and how much they're relying on you or that you're pouring into them. But at least once a week, you should be talking to your top leaders. And that doesn't mean they have to be ranked, but the people who are really putting in the effort, the people who are working hard, that they show you that they have the work ethic to do this. So talking to them weekly. And then the rest of the people on your team that may not be working as hard, but they're still taking the products, checking in with them at least monthly to make sure that they're still having success with the products, that they're liking things, that if they are noticing results, are they telling their friends or family? And if they are they following up with their friends and family? Just trying to make sure that they have a system of how they're doing their business. Even if they're not really working the business, they may still tell their sister and their mom and end up getting a few customers. But if you don't ever check in with them to know that, then, that makes it hard for them to do what they need to do in order to get those customers because they may just not know what is going on. And like I said, that system is going to look different for every single one of you. And it looks different for me than it does for Kelly, because we're different people. And the way that my brain works is not the way the brain works for the rest of you. So just getting your system and knowing that when you try to teach people duplication, they may have a system that works better for them. And that's okay as long as they have a system. So I would imagine that all of you guys currently are doing things differently. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's streamlined and that you are still talking to your team leaders, you're still keeping track of your ambassadors, and you know what's going on your team, and you've got like a really good read of that. One of the most important things that I see not happening a lot, which is where the fall off starts, is that when someone signs up a new ambassador, they're not always sending them a welcome email. They may add them to the team page and like send them a Facebook message like, oh, I saw you join. And then that may be it. So they're not getting an email with instructions on how to take their products if they're brand new, because they were never a customer, so they may not know. They're not getting any documents in an email to tell them like, okay, this is how our back office works. This is the PV amounts for each product. This is the customer prices for products. Like, they're not getting that information because nobody's sending them that first email that's so important. And those emails are very important. And Kelly, do you guys use the success plan that Suzanne Clinton created?
I don't think so. We usually, Vanessa made, she's not on this call right now, but she made a document, and it might be that one. It's a document for the new ambassador checklist, and then a checklist for us, and we send that out along with a welcome email, and then we do a 3-way call with them.
Okay,
and if you have that available, I mean, send it over to us. We'd love to use it.
Yeah, so in that success plan that Suzanne and her team created, there are email templates for not only your level 1s, but your levels 2 through 7 that you're likely going to email as well. So it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel, but there are templates there. It tells you exactly what attachments to put in if they're a new customer, like if they've never tried the product, but they joined you, whether they're going to be a wholesale customer. Like if you signed up your great aunt and she's never going to tell anybody, but she wanted cheaper pricing, you could probably just send her the information on how to take the products. She probably doesn't care about business building. But if you sign someone who tells you like, oh yeah, I want to sign up, I want to tell people, I want to make some money, then you send them a totally different email because their goals are different. And I'm glad that Kelly's saying that you guys do 3-way calls, because that was my next part on the list, is that after you send them that welcome email, then you need to contact them and say, okay, let's do a 3-way call. I want you to meet my friend Jessica. Like, we went to college together. She's the one who introduced me to these products, and she is just doing so amazingly well. And she and her family have totally different health testimonies than what I have, and I would love for you to hear what she has to say. Now, that doesn't mean that I say, we're going to schedule a 3-way call where you can talk to my Diamond upline, and she got to Diamond in 10 months, and she's going to tell you everything she knows, because that's going to scare people, and it's going to intimidate them, and they don't want to do it. I can promise you. Most people do not want to do these 3-way calls to begin with because they're uncomfortable and they're awkward. And if you make it seem as if it's kind of intimidating and it's a business call, then they're really going to be hesitant about it. But if you can just let them know, hey, this is my friend. I want you to hear her testimony too, because you may know somebody who that could benefit, and I want you to get to know her, then that's going to go over a lot better. That's going to be something that people are like, oh, okay. Like, I'm happy to talk to your friend. That's not a big deal. So when you're on those 3-way calls, it's really just a get to know you, for your sponsor and your new person to know each other, because they've never met most of the time. And for them to kind of know, like, okay, is this person going to be a business builder? Do they have goals for this business? Do they want their products paid for? Do they need their mortgage paid for every month? Or do they just want to take the products and be left alone for a few months until they see them working? Whatever the case is, this is a good time to kind of get those expectations from them so that you really know, like, okay, this is someone I need to contact on a regular basis that I need to keep following up with, or this is someone I'm going to check on a monthly basis, or even, less than that, depending on how things are going, because their own sponsor is going to contact them too. So that's not always up to your your sponsor to contact your team, but they may want some of that communication if they are going to be a significant business builder. And then I always use this time to help them really kind of grasp how easily it can be to get your products paid for with just getting a handful of customers and what that looks like. And I try to break it down for them with, okay, you ordered the triplex because you know that this is going to help you. And if you can think of a handful of friends that's going to help, and you have 3 friends who order this as a preferred customer, your triplex you're going to make enough money to pay for your own. So just trying to make them understand that. Because most of the time they're like, oh, okay, that's not so hard. Even if there's somebody who is like, I don't really want to work a business, I don't have time for it, I don't have the energy for it, they may still have a desire to get their products paid for. So just letting them know that. And if they do, then helping them set their first goals. If I have someone join in the first week or 2 of the month, I always encourage them to try to go silver in their first month. That way they get that $100 achievement bonus on their first month's paycheck, which is always a nice thing. And they're going to start getting those weekly checks if they get people to sign up. And then I always encourage 500 PV. Now, that's a little bit harder in the first month because it's 500 over your welcome pack. So their own purchase of a welcome pack doesn't count in that first month. But I let them know that up front, that you need 500 plus the $100 that you've already put in this month to get 25% commissions. But you'll still get commissions on anything that you buy or sell $100 over your welcome pack. But if you can get to 25, you make even more. So I want them to have those expectations and to have something to strive for. Now, I don't ever force goals on anybody, but as we talk through these things and we figure out what it is they want, then you can kind of know, like, is this somebody who is really gung-ho and they are very well connected and well respected? Maybe you even push them, let's see if you can get to silver in the next 72 hours. And then you go from there. All right, you did that in 3 days. Let's see if you can add 3 more and teach your first 3 to do this, and you'd be on your way to Fast Start Gold. And then, because I don't explain Fast Start Gold to somebody from the very beginning, because that is overwhelming and it's just intimidating. But if they are somebody who really wants the business, and we start with, let's get you to silver in the next 3 days, that's 3 people in 3 days. And if they're an influential person who has a lot of contacts, that may be really easy to do. So just try to figure out where they're at on that call. I think that 3-way call is just really key to duplicating down in your business. And the way that I do that, the person who signed them up really just kind of does the introductions, and they just listen and absorb, so that when their new person signs someone up, they can lead that call and that they don't need me to do it again. But they're really just listening, probably, hopefully, taking notes, realizing the language that we use, the way we explain things, so that they have the ability to do that for their people as their team continues to grow. The next thing I think that's really important for duplication is adding people to your team page. In my personal opinion, everyone who joins your team should be added, whether they are a wholesale customer or not. I'm not sure if you guys saw the post that came back out of the Jewel trainings when they were doing those a couple of months ago, but it was asked in the room of nearly 100 people that were all Jewels, how many of them had signed up just for the discount with zero intention of working the business. And guys, it was probably 90% of the room. So just because you have someone who signs up and they're like, oh, I just want the discount, I'm not going to sell, still add them to your team page. Just one, and that's it. Do not add them to 4 or 5 or 6, but just add them to your team page. And I will tell you that when I had no intention of selling, but I was on the team page anyway, and I was seeing mutual friends of mine and Jessica's from college who were having life-changing health testimonies. It really did open my eyes to the vast amount of things that our products could help with. And because of that, you know, my wheels started turning. Like, I know people that this could help. And, oh, my cousin could get help with this. And, man, that would really help my brother-in-law. And, oh, wow, my grandma could benefit from this. And because I was seeing those stories and I was getting that interaction, even though I was just an observer and I was not contributing, I was not doing anything, it really built my belief in our products. And I was starting to see friends of mine who were making money, other than Jessica, but other people who were making money and being able to buy groceries without like having to not pay a bill. There were a lot of things happening that really just pushed me forward into, okay, this is something that I need to actually take a look at further rather than just using it for myself. So I think adding everyone is so important. Even if they want to be a business builder, I would still highly encourage you to not add them to more than 2 pages when they first join. I add my people to my page, and I add them to Tamara's life-changing Plexus testimonies page if they want to work the business, so that they have access to all those testimonies. And then once they go silver and they're really working, I always ask them if they want to be added to Jessica's page. She's a diamond. There are 6,000 people on that page. It's overwhelming. And I have so many Facebook notifications, I can't even check them all. And I don't want other people to feel that way. So I always ask their permission to add them to other pages. If I have people with a specific health issue, or if I have somebody who is a breastfeeding mom, I will ask them, do you want to be added to the, Plexus breastfeeding group? Whatever the case is, but I always want them to acknowledge that, yes, I want that. And I know that I'm going to get a lot more notifications, because overwhelming people is never a good thing. I had a lot of people in the beginning who were very overwhelmed by the myriad of pages that they were being added to that just quit because they couldn't handle it. They were getting, 60 notifications by the time they got out of work, and they're like, it's too much. So I think taking it slow is way better. And like I said, once they start working the business and they want more communication and more involvement in the team pages, then by all means, add them to whatever they want. But in the beginning, keeping that as minimal as possible, I think, is huge for success. Another thing about our team pages is just having a really positive culture. I do not allow or condone negativity on my page. There was a lot last fall when the back office switchover happened, and they would post and I would delete it and message them and say, hey, I'm sorry you're frustrated. Let's deal with it, but we don't need it on our team page. It's just not worth it. We need to keep things positive, because yes, they may have joined 4 months ago and they're fed up with this, but the person who joined yesterday has no idea what's going on or why people are fed up, because that's all they've ever known and it's working just fine for them. So making sure that we stay positive at all times. And I know there are things that happen that we get frustrated about. I get it, but that doesn't need to infect everybody. So making sure that you have a way to communicate with those people and to say, hey guys, that's not allowed on our page. We just need to keep things positive. And I get that, like I said, there are things that happen that are frustrating and they should be dealt with, but we don't need to bring down the whole team because one person had an issue. So making sure that stays positive. Another thing about team pages is that it gets really boring if I am the only person ever posting on my team page. So I encourage my teammates to post articles that they find, or like to ask questions, or, if they get a positive response from a customer that's really, motivating and uplifting, like post that, like share that with the team. We want to see those things. It doesn't need to just be me posting every day, and then when they add a teammate, oh, hey, I added a teammate, and then it goes back to just me posting all the time. So we want to share the burden of that, because I can only say things in certain ways because that's just how I perceive them. But somebody else may have a totally different take that relates to someone else better. So I always ask people to contribute to our team page, that it shouldn't just be the leader that is posting. And one of the things that I think is really encouraging is that your teams want to see you engage and interact. And if they see that, they're more likely to do it. If all they ever see is Kelly posting things and they never see you posting things, then they're not going to either, because they may think, oh, I can't do that. I'm not allowed. Like, this is her page. It's her rules. But if they see you interacting and they see you commenting on posts and asking questions and answering questions for other people and helping out, then they're going to feel more a part of that team culture, and they're more likely to be involved in that as well. If you aren't whatever the case is, if you aren't doing it as a leader, you can't expect your team to do it. The speed of the leader is the speed of the team. If you are personally recruiting and adding new customers and new ambassadors on a regular basis, your team is going to follow suit. If you are stagnant and you're not reaching out and you're not posting on Facebook and you're not listening to calls and you're not doing those things, then they're not going to either. And it may not even be a, oh, well, she's not doing it, I'm not doing it, conscious decision, but just if they don't see it happening and they don't see you posting, oh my gosh, I watched this video and it was so good, then they may not even think to go look for a video to watch. So making sure that you're not asking your team to do something you're not willing to do. I was reading an article the other day about team building, and it had nothing to do with Plexus. It was just in general as a marketing thing, not even necessarily network marketing, but that you should not be looking to other people to do things nearly as much as you're looking to yourself. So if you think, man, I really need Susie to step it up and she needs to be doing this, this, and this, then you should be looking at yourself 10 times more than what you're looking at her. So for every one thing that you think someone else needs to work on, you should be looking at yourself and finding 10 things that you need to be doing differently. And I think that that's really eye-opening because there are times where that may be warranted. Man, Susie, she had a lot of people interested 2 weeks ago and she hasn't posted since then. She really needs to get back on that. Okay, I may address that with her, but what do I need to be doing that maybe I've taken, a step back and I'm not doing it as frequently as I ought to? Because I will tell you guys, it is hard as a team leader that you feel like you're pulled in 100 different directions. You're answering questions, you're troubleshooting, you're doing all of these things for other people. And sometimes your own business takes a back seat to that without you even realizing it. So making sure that you are doing your own work so that when you say, hey guys, I want you to message 5 people today. And I want you to, comment when you've got a new customer or ambassador. Are you reaching out to 5 people today? Are you going to do that as well? Not just asking them to do it. So then the other thing about kind of jumping back to the team page, my notes got a little out of order, I think is really important is covering the basics. Like I said, you're adding new people on a regular basis. So when, we talk about the power of 3 and going silver and what that means, well, somebody who joined yesterday doesn't know that. But somebody who joined, a year and a half ago is like, oh, okay, got it. I don't even need to read this post, which is really not true. You should, because there may be something new in there or something worded differently that you hadn't thought about. But making sure that you do that. But posting those basics on a regular basis really helps the new people to kind of get oriented and acquainted with the way that the process works. And posting about our products, really, really encouraging knowledge about our products, and not just the 2 or 3 lines that are on the cards in our success kit or that are on the website, but really researching what the ingredients in our products are and how incredible they are and what they can really do for the body. Guys, our products are top notch. They cannot be beat. I can almost guarantee that. And if somebody has one out there that they think can beat something that we have, I would love to see it and research it. Because I will tell you, in the extensive amounts of research I have done, and I am not just talking Google, I'm talking medical research journals, the ingredients in our products are some of the most high quality that are out there, and they have such potent benefits that it's just absolutely incredible. I cannot wait until we have research to back all of that up on our products as a whole rather than the individual ingredients, so that we can shout from the rooftops the amazing things that our products can do. Along with the fact that our products are incredible, one of the areas that I see where drop-off happens the most is because nobody educated them on correct dosage, how to take it, when to take it, how to troubleshoot if it's not going well, making sure that their customers and that their teammates know what's going on. Our products work for more than 85% of the people who take them correctly. But if they're not going to take them correctly, they don't get that benefit. But we know our products work, and we know they work very well. So making sure that that is a constant presence of teaching people exactly how to take them, when to take them, what to take them with, what to avoid taking them with. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard somebody be like, well, I just don't feel like the Slim is working for me. And I'll start asking them questions and they're like, oh, well, I wake up and I take my thyroid medicine and then I take my Slim. And I'm like, well, are you waiting 4 hours? Nope. Well, why not? We need to know that. You cannot take supplements within 3 to 4 hours of taking thyroid medication. For the most part, there are a couple of brands of thyroid medication that is not the case. But for most of them, that's a 3 to 4 hour window. And if they're taking them together, they're negating each other and they're not going to get a benefit from their prescription medication and they're not going to get as much benefit from Slim. So we want to know that. And it's not out of your, it may be out of your comfort zone to ask them if they're on prescription medication, but as someone who's helping them improve their health, you need to know that information. I also have tons of people who tell me like, oh, I love the taste of Slim and I just drink it, a sip on it all day long. Not okay. You would not take a prescription pill and cut it into 12 tiny pieces and just take one every hour during the day. Same with Slim. When you mix it, drink it. Don't wait around. Don't, just put it on the table next to you and just sip on it all day long. It should be consumed within 30 minutes of mixing, so that you are having that time where it can deteriorate, because our products are all natural and they don't have preservatives in them. I don't know if any of you have ever not finished your Slim and looked at it the next day. It loses its color. It's not as potent. The taste is different because there are no preservatives to keep it where it's supposed to be. So once you mix it, you need to drink it. And I think that is, something that needs to be reiterated on a regular basis on our team pages. Not that specifically, but just common knowledge about our products so that we have a better platform to go tell other people. And really, duplication comes down to you making the effort to not only have your system, but to encourage your team to have a system. And like I said, they don't all have to be alike. They're not going to be, because everyone is different. My system looks totally different from Jessica's. And some people think that that's crazy because she is a diamond and I should probably do exactly what she's doing. But my brain is wired differently and I need to see things differently than how she sees them. And that doesn't mean I'm not doing the same principles and I'm not having the same actions. I'm just going about them in a different way. And that's okay. And it's the same for the people under me. They have a different system, but we all have a system and we need to stick to that. So that is all I have. I can answer any questions that anybody has. I may not have the answer, but I can try. So whatever you've got.
And if anybody does have any questions, I muted everybody, so you'll have to unmute yourself if anybody does have any questions. Vanessa, are you on there? Oh, okay.
I'm here. Yes, I'm sorry I was late. Alicia, thank you so much for getting on with us tonight. I heard the tail end of it. I got on about 15 minutes ago. But what I did hear, and I'll listen to the recording whenever, after when it gets posted, is a lot of stuff that stuff and you get trained stuff and you hear stuff all throughout this business, but being in it for a while, you forget some of these things. So I really appreciate you breaking it down and going back to the basics and just, taking it a step back for us that, I think it's really important for newbies and for people like us that have been in it for a while to take a step back and be like, oh, yeah, we need to ask them about medications. Yeah, we know that, but, that's the type of thing that we need to be reminded of. So I really appreciate that. And, I love you. We do, the 21 laws anyways together. So I thank you so much for getting on here. Does anyone else have any questions or anything that they want to say or ask? She's a put it to you straight type of girl. So if you have any questions at all, she's not going to be hesitant to answer anything. So I'm on my phone and I've never done Zoom from my phone. So I can't even see who all's on here. It's really strange, but yes.
Olivia. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey.
Alicia, you and I sat by each other on the plane going to convention last year.
Yeah.
I've had I've been doing this a year and a half, a while, and I have had quite a few people lately who have had issues, who are feeling nauseous when they drink their pink drink. And so this is kind of a question and kind of for everybody to know that plexus shield of confidence, it makes you go, oh, wait, maybe something is wrong. And I hate that that's your first thought. Well, then I start digging into it. And I didn't realize that the drink is so anti-inflammatory. And so one girl started mixing it with less water, and she instantly noticed that she wasn't feeling as. Have you had, like, we've worked through it with some of them. One or two have just kind of, well, you know, but have you had experience with that? What's your advice with that issue?
Yeah. Not only is Slim anti-inflammatory, but it is a detoxifier. So some people who are very toxic, some people do experience die-off in those first couple of days from Slim alone. So if that's the case, I have them try drinking it after a meal instead of before, because most people do drink it before breakfast. But if they are having that nauseous feeling, I do have them try it after. And full disclosure, I'm one of those people who hates the taste of Slim. So I mix it with as little amount of water as possible. Oh, see, I'm not alone. Thank you. So many people are like, you're crazy. Nah.
You are crazy.
No, it's awful. It is, I mean, 2 years, and I still think it's absolutely awful.
Schlocky. I drink it anyway, but I'm the same.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to drink it every day for the rest of my life, but it's absolutely horrendous in my opinion. So I only mix it in like 2 ounces of water, and I chug it.
Oh, you just do 2 ounces?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I had no idea. I said, don't do less than 6. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know why I said that. I was just thinking.
No, you can mix it 4.
Okay.
See, some people, like my mom mixes it in like an ounce and drinks it. And she likes it. She just doesn't want to have to drink very much of it.
Okay.
So the other thing is you can, for people who are nauseous with it, they can try to take it before lunch, because sometimes it's just like they're not used to having things in their stomach in the morning. I meet so many people who are like, oh, I don't eat breakfast. I'm not a breakfast eater. I can't do that in the morning. So it may be some of those cases where they just should try it later in the day. But yeah, I have had a handful of people who do feel that way. And most of the time it's a die-off issue, because it does stop after their first few days if they can just power through it.
Okay.
And some people maybe even just do mix half a packet. Don't like mix it and only drink half, but mix half the packet like before breakfast and then half before lunch to kind of split it up if they are experiencing that.
Awesome. Do you, as far as the taste goes, like what made you power through that?
So I bought it and I was going to stick with it, which is why I'm always hesitant to give people samples, because had I had one sample, I would have said never. I literally gagged and threw up the first day. That would have been it for me. Yes.
I know. I don't think it's, some days
but
I'm
I
not
had
like,
a 30-day supply and I had spent money, and by George, I was going to finish it. And by the end of the first week, when I was not having daily headaches and my pain was like 70% less and I was sleeping through the night, I don't care what it tastes like. I'm not stopping. And I have a 6-year-old and he was 5 at the time, and he asked me, he's like, Mom, what does that taste like? And I was like, it tastes like health. And that's about as much as I can say about it. So I will say that when I think about it, I open my X Factor capsules and mix them in, and it totally changes the taste and it makes it bearable. Other days I just mix it in with my 96 and then I can't taste it at all and I really don't care.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone that took it right before bed? I've seen posts of this and I'm like, I'm afraid I would be up all night. Have you ever talked to anybody that did that?
Yeah, so I had seen some people say that they did that and it helped them sleep, which I find very weird. Mm-hmm. But I'm not somebody who, when I drink it, I get a rush of energy, and I know some people do. But my dad was having a really hard time sleeping, so I encouraged him to switch it to like an hour before bed. And he did, and he said he couldn't tell any difference. Like, he didn't notice that he had more energy at bed or less, but it didn't help him sleep. But he didn't really, like, it didn't change anything in the way he felt. So I don't really understand why somebody would do that. But I guess there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, because it regulates your blood sugar, ideally you want to take it near the same time every day so that it's staying at a constant level in your system. You wouldn't want to take it morning one day and then night the next, because then you've got a window of time where probably aren't getting any benefit. So it's trying to stick to that time. So
yeah, I have to take it right before lunch because if I take it in the morning, I get like I don't know if my sugar crashes at like 4 o'clock, even if I take it in the morning. So I have to take it right before lunch or else I get a super headache about 4 o'clock. So I take it right before lunch. So that's why I was wondering, maybe if I took it at night, I don't know, I may play with it and see what it does.
yeah.
What's that yellow thing framed behind your head? Is that Plexus related or something?
Yeah, these are all of my level 1s. Some of them are covered up down at the bottom, but so I use that to pray for them on a daily basis. So
I'm always curious what people do. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that. Well, I think we're almost out of time, right, Kelly?
Yeah, you've got about a minute left.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for getting on and interacting and asking questions. So
yes, well, thank you for being on. We really do appreciate it. We really, really do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
All right, y'all have
you in Vegas.
Yes.
Yay, we're excited. All right, guys, y'all have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.